right, let's roll. Hey, great to be with you guys. Excited. It's going to be a beautiful and amazing day. Hopefully you will make it so, because it is always a decision. It is always a chance to have things come up in your day. You know that will be a distraction. But many of you may know I have not done a lot of morning meetings over the last 30 days. And I have also not done a lot of the daily message. In fact, a few of them were even a few repeats here and there for me. And the reason for that is that I had a concussion. And in the process of that concussion, I didn't realize, as I think I said in social media yesterday, I said, I didn't realize that golf could be such a contact sport. I was actually sitting on the edge of my car and the hatchback decided to stand down when I was putting on my golf shoes and go down. And as I stood up, it like nailed it and hit me right on the back of the head. And it kind of rocked my world for a few weeks. So it's good to be back with you. Good to be back in the saddle of day in and day out activity of doing things in regards to just even the social media side of it, the video side of it, the daily message side of it, and really, frankly, just giving messages. So hey, I'm excited to be with you, and I hope that you're excited to be with me. And I hope that you've got a notepad and a pen out, because I have to tell you that during this time frame, over these last several weeks, one of the things that it certainly does is that it really got me to think. And I've always been a big believer that there are three types of thinkers in the world today. There is the type of thinker that is a small thinker, there's a non-thinker, and then there's the big thinkers. And I've always prided myself, if this makes sense, in the fact that I love to think. And sometimes that thinking can get us in trouble, right? We sometimes will think about things that probably are our greatest fears, things that may never come true, or we think about all of our doubts and our struggles and the challenges of life. But then there's the opposite of that, is that you've been given this wonderful and amazing gift, this mind that you have, to be able to think, to process, to be able to reason through things and to move through things. So as you start thinking about that, you start thinking like, man, how am I really using my thoughts, and how am I using my emotions for good? There's a handful of questions that, between what I've been listening to, what I've been reading, what I've been even just assimilating with just my own thoughts. And I have to tell you that within my journal, I was on a little vacation last week and in the process of healing. But on the 11th of September, I started writing down as I was overlooking. Those of you who are familiar with Lake Powell, I was sitting on the desert, the edge of the water, overlooking the water, sitting in a chair, and I just started to write. And as I was writing down there in Lake Powell, I started to realize that we can focus on all of the money that we could possibly earn in the world, and the fact is that we could then at the end of the day remain very unhappy. And some of us are having extraordinary successes in today's market. We're seeing unprecedented times of growth. Everest as a company last month in August had its single greatest month ever in the history of the organization. And so, granted, that's the pent up demand of what happened in the Mays, the Junes, and the Julys, and things of that sort. But nevertheless, it was a good month. And as I started to reflect and start to think back as to what agents are doing, what I'm doing, what's been the course of my life, the pathway, and you start to get a little reflective, and you start to get a little internal. And so I just want to give you some questions that I think that have been very, very helpful for me, but I also think that they'll be very, very helpful for you. And they're deep, and they're probably, people will say, well, man, this doesn't have much to do with real estate, but it's where we're going to start today. And the reason we're going to start there today is because I think that if you can gather from the inside and work from the inside out in this business, you have a really good chance of winning. So I want to give you 5 questions that I want you to ask yourself. And here's the questions. And if you're not writing them down, they're down even on my social media, but I'm going to repeat them. And then I want to get a little deeper into them, because my little social media deal was about 6 or 7 minutes long. And I want to get into these questions just a little bit. So here's the first one. As I sat on the edge of the water, overlooking just this beautiful landscape, I asked this question: what have I learned? And so that's the first question. I hope there's never a day that goes by for you that you haven't learned something, that there's not something that you've derived from either your observation of something, you've read something, you've watched something, you've heard something, you've experienced something. But really, what have you learned? What is it that you've learned about yourself? What have you learned in life? What have you learned of how to succeed? What have you learned in regards to failure? What have you learned in regards to being a parent? What have you learned in regards to being simply a human being and being in this beautiful earth and this beautiful planet that we live in? What have you learned? Okay, that's the first question. I took a lot of time writing about that because I realized that, you know what, as much as I may not know, there's a lot that I have learned. And I think that there's that if I was on a dry erase board, I'd put up here right now, I'd put a big circle and I'd say, look, there's a whole heck of a lot of things that you do know. Number two, there's a whole heck of a lot of things that you do not know that you're really conscious of. And there's this whole other area of our lives where we're not even conscious, where we don't know what we don't know. And so part of the asking of the question is, what have I learned? Is it helps to open up some of those areas. It helps you to open up and to become mindful, become conscious, to become aware of really where are you in regards to your learning. And the reality is that if you're not growing, it is unlikely that you are very happy. And so part of the learning, part of the growth of our life is to really always excel. And it doesn't matter your age. There's never a time frame where you should begin the process of saying, okay, I've got it all figured out, right? The dangerous words of life. I already know that. Or I know, I know, I know, I know. And I meet people consistently in life that I'll hear someone sharing something. I might be sharing something. They might be hearing something from someone else, and they're constantly, as that person speaking to them, they're saying these words. I know. Yeah, I know. I know that. I hope that you're not that person today, because the problem with that type of thinking and behavior is that the brain shuts off and we stop learning, and we cannot be that individual. Because if we really want to have true happiness and we want to truly grow at high levels, we have to recognize that there's never a day that we have fully arrived, right? You can drive your ego based on your achievement, based on what your money status is, based on your, the house you live in, the car that you drive. You can base your whole ego on what people think of you, what you've acquired, what you've done. But the reality is that that's a pretty shallow place of life. The great joy of life is when you continue to grow, to excel, to not be that person who keeps nodding their head going, I know, I know, I know, I know. Because the moment you continue to do that, or that you do it and you continue to do it, is the moment that your brain shuts off and you stop learning. And when you stop learning, it's in almost all cases that you start dying. So remember how important it is that every single day that we are continuing to learn, to grow, to excel, to accomplish things beyond what we have been doing, because it's part of our nature to grow. It's part of our nature to learn. It's part of our desire. It's even within us to always want to go to the next level of life. All right, that's the first question. What have I learned today? What have I learned in my life? Second question, these aren't in any particular order, but this is the order that I put them in. And the second thing is this: who am I? Who am I? Who are you? This has become kind of a hot topic, right? If you read and you're listening to things, who am I? Are you a mother? Is that your definition? Are you a father? Are you a business person? You say, well, I'm all of those things. Or, I'm a husband, I'm a wife, I'm a sibling, I'm a friend. Yeah, but is that really who you are? Is that the definition of who you are? Is that the core of I enter when you were introduced, you would say, hi, my name is George Morris, and I am what? What am I? Who am I? And you may say, well, man, that's kind of a deep question for a Thursday morning. It is. It is a deep question, because the fact is that if we don't figure out who we are, then the problem is we might find at the end of our life, when you hear the Stephen R. Covey who speaks of this, who says, man, when you're climbing the ladder of success, let's hope that you're climbing the right ladder. Because if you're not climbing the right ladder of success, then at the end of the day, when you start to figure out, like, hey, who am I? Maybe someone who showed up, later in life isn't who you really wanted to be, because you never got really clear on who am I. And here's even a better question, and this isn't part of my questions, but I'm thinking out loud here. But who do I choose to become? Right? Who am I, and who do I choose to become? Because the fact of the matter is that who am I? Right? It's our words. It's our words don't speak so loudly. It's our actions, right? It's who are we? Who am I? And in figuring that out, whether it's be that I am full of love, or I am love, or I am joy, I am who are you? Because once you begin to figure that out, you can start to elevate more of that. If you choose to say to yourself, I am love, well, then I would bet you that you're going to be able to elevate more love. And frankly, here's the deal, guys. You can't give away to the people who you want to serve, to your family, to the people you love, if you aren't something, right? If you squeeze an orange juice, squeeze an orange, what comes out of it? Orange juice. Well, if you're squeezed, what comes out of you, right? Is it love or is it fear? Is it joy or is it unhappiness? When someone squeezes down on you, and life has a way of doing that, what comes out of you? What comes out of your mind? What comes out of your voice? What comes out of your emotions has so much to do with who we have chosen to be. So again, the simple question for yourself, answering it for yourself, who am I? All right, third question. What do you want? What do you want? Right? What do you want to do? Maybe what do you want to achieve? What do you want to buy? Where do you want to go? Right? What do you want to do from that standpoint? What do you want out of life? What do you want for yourself? What do you want for your family? What do you want? Just in a simple form. What do you want? If I asked you in one question, what do you want? Could you answer it? Could you answer it with absolute solidness? Because here's the deal. At the end of your life, imagine you're on your deathbed. Imagine that you are on your deathbed and that you are asked this question: was your life a success? How will you know? How will you know it was a success? Is really where I'm getting down into. What do you want out of your life? Right? What do you want in its most simple form? I hope that you'll keep it simple. Maybe it is a new car. Maybe it is a new home. Maybe it's a vacation property. Maybe it's traveling somewhere. But man, get deeper than just an achievement of something that everyone else can see. There's a deeper question there. What do you want? What do you want? Get deep into it. Fourth question. Let's do this one next. And that is, what is the purpose of my life? What is the purpose of my life? So if I'm talking to you and you were sitting here right at my desk and I asked you the question, what's the purpose of your life? What is it for? Why do you exist? Why are you here? What is your life about? What's the purpose of it? What are you doing with it? Is it to sell a ton of homes? I hope that it is to sell a ton of homes, because I love the fact that you can provide for your dreams, your goals, and your family. But is that really the purpose of your life? You know it's not. You know, speaking, if you were on your deathbed, you're not going to sit there and go, oh man, if I could have just sold one more home. Oh man, if I could have just bought one more Mercedes. If I could have just driven, one more Lamborghini. Really? Come on. Really? Get serious about the purposes of your life. What drives it, what moves it. Because here's the deal. Once you find the purposes, once you find what you want, once you find out who you are, then you start really engaging the game of real estate. You begin to not just have a job. It's not just your job. It's not just even a career for you. It becomes a calling. It becomes a mission for you. It becomes something so different than what you do every day, the way in which you touch lives, the way in which you move through your day becomes so much different because of the difference that you know that you make, because you know the purposes of your life. You know what you want out of your life. You know who you are. Who am I? And then it becomes very different. See, no one wants to talk about this stuff, because it's a lot easier to talk about Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces, a lot easier to talk about the new car, the new house, the new investment property, how much money do you have in the bank, the great vacation you've gone on. And those are a lot of fun things to talk about. I love going to Europe. I love driving nice cars. I love living in nice homes. I love going on great vacations. I love helping people, and how can I dish out cash money in different ways, help with charities, and do the philanthropy. Hey, that's all great. Well, let's get deeper than even that. Who am I? What do I want? What's the purpose of my life? You start getting into those depths. You start to really realize, like, wait a second here, man, there's a deeper level to life. And then the last one, it's pretty simple, because it's what helps you to generate all of that momentum and eradicate all of that fear. And just, it's something I will never, ever let you forget about. And that is that you have got to remain grateful. So the simple question is this: what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? Look, you have the power to do a couple of things in your life. You have the power to feed your faith, feed your beliefs, feed what you know to be good, or you have the power to feed your fear. So you always know someone who's fear-based. The moment you talk about a great goal or something that wants to be achieved, they're always the person, they're always the individual that within seconds, minutes, at least minutes, maybe even seconds, they've gone into all the reasons it can't work, all the reasons it won't happen, all the reasons someone's going to fail, all the reasons it cannot be done, all the can'ts, I won'ts, I'll nevers, all the limitations that go into that. And that is a person who is fear-based. So ask yourself that question. Are you fear-based? Are you faith-based? Do you believe in the unseen? Do you believe in the possibilities of what's possible for you, even though it hasn't yet been achieved? Do you believe that you can set appointments? Do you believe that you can list homes? Do you believe that you can put homes under contract? Do you believe that you can get your mindset right? Do you believe that you can get the skill sets that are necessary to present, to close? Because everything about this, gang, is going and driving your life towards the fear or driving it towards your faith and your belief. So you can either feed your faith or you can feed your fear. But I can tell you this: if you'll feed your faith and your beliefs, and here's the thing, people will say, well, wait, but how do you know that to be true? I don't, any more than you know that the fears that you have in alignment with your life are going to be true. And what did I say? 99% of the fears that we have that we think are going to happen never happen anyway. So why would I put all my energy, my passion, my emotion into the fear-based type of thinking of what can't happen, won't happen, couldn't happen? Why would I put it all down into this doubt, into this fear, versus the faith, right? The belief, the possibilities of what could happen if maybe I made some calls, if I got my mindset right, if I did the things I was supposed to do, if I knocked the doors, if I made the calls, if I presented well, if I learned the closing skill sets. Guys, all of these things, skill sets, mindsets, disciplines, if you did those things, could you possibly realize, achieve everything that you desire? So gratitude is that key ingredient to eliminating the fear. And each one of us in our lives has patterns, we have disciplines, we have rituals, we have even routines, even though I don't like using the word much because it seems so mundane. But we have these patterns, rituals, disciplines, routines that we do every single day. And some of us are caught in a pattern of fear, a pattern of doubt, pattern of it can't be, it won't work, it'll never happen. And there's some of us who are caught in this amazing, awesome pathway of possibility. So maybe a question to ask yourself in regards to what am I grateful for? Maybe back it up with what's possible for me? What is possible for me? If I didn't walk around fear-based, if I didn't walk around scared, if I didn't walk around doubting every day, if I knew who I was, if I knew what my purposes were, if I clearly understood what I wanted out of my life, and I knew those things, what's possible? What is possible? I don't know, but I'm going to bet you some pretty extraordinary things. See, because when I get into my journal and I start, writing and doing my stuff, I'm not asking you to do anything that I'm not doing myself. I never will do that for you. I will never tell you to go write in your journal and I'm not writing in it. I'm never going to tell you to write down questions that I haven't written down myself. I'm not going to ask you to try to expand your mindset, your belief system, your emotion towards your possibilities. And I haven't tried to do the same thing myself. And I hear, look, it's a lot easier to speak about these things. It's a lot easier to talk about these things than it is to even do these things. I get that. I promise you that if you will pay the price, and it's such a small price, it's just a little bit of your time to just simply ask this question, what's possible? See, we will get so concerned about a particular marketing or a particular piece of social media or a particular advertisement or a particular, you know, shiny object out in the marketplace, the new and greatest this and that. And don't we just miss the whole point? Don't we just miss the whole point of really who it is that we need to become? Just want to reiterate this. If you got clear on what you have learned and you dedicate your life to a life of learning and growth, what would life look like for you? If you knew clearly, who am I? Who am I? Yeah, okay, you're a dad, you're a mom. Okay, yes, you're a friend. Yes, you're a real estate agent. But more than that, who are you? If you really came to know who you were and you were able to declare that and you got clear on that, what if you got so just dialed in on just a handful of your intentions of like, what are my intentions? What do I really want? Like maybe it is the debts paid. Maybe it's the taxes paid on time. Maybe it's the money in the bank. Maybe it's the freedom that comes with that, right? Maybe it's the trip with the family. Maybe it's, you know, many people I coach, right? They want a trip to Cancun or a trip to Hawaii when it opens up, or maybe it's a first class ticket to Europe and being able to lay down in the bed and have a great trip back and forth where they're not jet lagged because they're able to get proper rest. I mean, it could be so simple. But man, what do you want? Man, to move through your day to not get clear, because look, you know this. The key to poor decision making, remember this, write this down. The key to poor decision making is not knowing where you're going. When you don't know, you will make decisions that are so out of alignment with what you want your life to be. Now, I do believe that you need to figure out how you want to live your life. And I've had a statement for many years where I say, look, I just need to figure out how I want to live my life. But gang, there's areas of your life that I know that you know how you want to live it. So get serious and get clear on where you're going. Know the destination. So imagine that you knew that. Now what's possible? Man, I know what I'm trying to learn and grow at, what I'm trying to be and who I'm trying to be. I know who I am. I know what I want. And now I know really, and I think about it, if you knew the purpose of your life, whew, you would be a rare commodity in today's world to be able to answer with conviction, what is the purpose of my life? And if I asked you and you knew the answer, how cool would that be? How powerful would it be? How incredible would it be to know that the actions that you take, the decisions that you make today are in alignment with your purpose. They're in alignment with what you want. They're in alignment with who am I? They're in alignment with my desire for learning and for growth. Man, would that be powerful. Then to back it up with a tremendous amount of gratitude. Whew, I mean, I hope you can see the vision of that. Like, what would be possible? How many homes could you sell? How many appointments could you set? What type of difference would you make in today's world if you were in that center of purpose and gratitude and acknowledgement of who am I and knowing what you want in this path of growth? What type of leader would show up in the day? What type of human being would move through the day when they show up at the checkout line, or they pick up a phone call, or they meet a friend, or they see a family member? What type of difference could you make? How much more easier would real estate be when you knew that and found that center within you? How much easier would it be to live an extraordinary life that you desire if you knew who you were, the purpose of your life, what you wanted, and wrapped it and weaved it all with all this gratitude? See, I go back to that these are patterns, disciplines, rituals, routines that we put in our lives. And if you want an extraordinary life, you have got to feed your beliefs, feed your faith, feed the emotions that empower you to do great things, and starve off all of the fear, starve the doubts. Man, we get so much conviction, so much deep belief in what we doubt. I remember years ago when I first heard it, I thought, what a profound statement. Could you just for a moment doubt your doubts? Think about that for a moment. Could you for a moment doubt your doubts? Instead of being so convinced that what you doubt, what you fear, you believe, could you take a step back and take that step back and say, today I choose to feed my faith, my belief, the emotions that empower me to move through a better way of life. I'm going to believe in my beliefs, and I choose to not doubt or choose to not believe my fears, my doubts, my frustrations, and all the things that seem to poison my mind, my heart, my soul. I can promise you that when you start going and moving your life through that pattern, I can promise you, you hear me, to wrap it up here, I promise you that you will build an extraordinary life. I promise you, you will. So please, not for me, not for anybody you even know, but for yourself, get clear. You want unwavering confidence? Know where you're going. Execute to the best of your ability on it. And weave it with tremendous amounts of gratitude. And you will remain in a state of confidence throughout your life. You won't have to just go to a seminar. You won't have to listen to me or to others. You won't have to read any book. If you know where you're going and you execute to the highest level you can on that, and you weave it and wrap it all with this tremendous gratitude, you will feel the confidences of when you pick up a phone, when you knock on a door, when you're presenting to a buyer, when you're presenting to a seller. You will feel the levels of confidence elevate in you because you are on solid ground. That's my desire for you. Because in the end of the day, tremendous joy and happiness will feed into your life when you know the answers to those questions. So again, what have you learned? Who am I? What is the purpose of my life? What do I want? What do I want? And wrap it with all that gratitude, right? What am I grateful for? All right, guys, I appreciate you being on this call. I appreciate you being on this morning meeting. This morning meeting, having been away from it and getting right back on it, it is, I'll tell you, there is deep gratitude for the fact that you show up and you play full out. So play full out today. Get committed. In fact, I would love it if I could get a few participants say, man, I'm playing full out today. Commit to the fact that you will answer these questions. Get with your coach, right? We have coaching, right? There's the ESS programs, there's your managers, there's other people who are coached by other people. Man, get coached, share your dream, share who you are, and let's live an extraordinary life together. All right, here we go. Let's close with some great